last thing I want to show you today is what happens when we've got some crazy situations. So my answer to this question, what if the system looks crazy? Let's eliminate. I would look towards elimination. It's a lot easier to do than substitution when you have a crazy system. Elimination happens to be the method that I prefer to use no matter what. I know that sometimes it's easier to use substitution, and I guess sometimes I will use it, but my favorite method is elimination. Alright, but you'll notice here, and the point of elimination is to try to get rid of one of your variables, so either x or y. But if I add these equations together, nothing's going to happen. I'll still be left with two variables because nothing's going to cancel out. So we got to do some rearranging and changing, which is doable. So the way that I show you this is not the one way to do it. There are multiple different ways. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Different situations and different ways that you could do this. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to eliminate my y values. So I'm going to take the top equation, and remember, if I multiply, looking at two sides here, if I multiply one side by one thing, I do it to the other side. That's fair. We can do that as long as we don't change. As long as we do it to both sides, it won't change the value. So I'm going to multiply the top times, let's do -2. And you'll see why I'm choosing to do this shortly. Alright, so -2 times 7 is -14, and that's with an x. And -2 times -12 is going to give me a positive 24 with a y. And then I've got -2 times -22, well, that's positive 44. Alright, and the bottom one, I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So 3 times 5x is 15x, and 3 times -8 is -24 with a y. And then I've got 3 times 14, -14, that's going to be -42. Alright, now what we can do is look at what we've got now. See, we've got 24y on top and -24y on the bottom. So if I add these together now, we'll get some cancellation going on. So I've got -14x plus 15x, that's 1x, or just x. 24y plus -24y is 0. So I don't even need to put that in there. And then 42 plus -42 is 2. So we're saying that x must be 2. Alright, so we know this much. Our solution is 2 something, and we need to figure out what y is. Alright, now we can plug the 2 back in just like we have been doing, but I would go back to your original equation, one of them, because you're going to be dealing with smaller numbers if we do it that way. Now it's up to you which one you'd rather use. I'm going to use the bottom one. So I'm going to plug x equals 2 in for 5, and I get 10 minus 8y equals -14, and then we just solve. So subtract 10. I've got -8y, I'm going to move this over here. -8y equals -24, since -14 minus 10 is -24, and then we divide both sides by -8, and we get y equals 3, positive 3. So 2, 3 should be the point or the solution for this system. So basically, if you have a crazy system, you want to do a little bit of changing so that you have some opposites to work with. That's what I did here. We could have tried to get rid of the x's first if we wanted to, but I got rid of the y's. And like I said, there are multiple ways that you can do that, and I'll talk with you about that tomorrow. Lastly, real quick, there are some special situations that can happen. So for instance, this one's already in a nice order for us here. Let's say we were trying to get rid of 2x, or the x's. So I would multiply the bottom by -2, and I would get -2x minus 4y equals -6. Notice now that this and this, when we add those together, if I take 2x plus negative 2x, I get 0. If I take 4y plus negative 4y, I get 0. And if I take 6 plus negative 6, I get 0. And I'm left with 0 equals 0. If ever that's the case, you have the same exact line. 0 equals 0 is true. So this is one of those infinite solution cases. And as you might guess, all on the right here, this is one where we'll have a no solution. Let's say I was trying to get rid of the x's here. I multiply this by negative 2. So I got negative 6x plus negative 4y, or minus 4y, equals, and then I would do this times negative 2, which is negative 16. So if I take these and add them together, I get 6x plus negative 6x is 0. 4y plus negative 4y is 0. And 9 plus negative 16 is negative 7. But 0 does not equal negative 7, so no solution. So basically, if it works out to be true, then you have the same line. You have 0 equals 0. If everything cancels out, then you have infinite solutions. They are the exact same line. They infinitely cross over each other. And if you end up with 0 equals some other number that's not true, then you have a no solution, meaning the two lines in this system that they started with are parallel. So just wanted to show you those crazy situations too. And I'm sorry I went a little bit longer on this one than I wanted to. But that's all I've got.